beginning of the weekend. Now, however, I really wish I would have taken a little easier last night because, Jesus, my goodness. Waking up this morning really sucked ass. Don't go to bed at 5 a.m. That's all I'm going to say. I got, a good 6.5 hours, so that's nothing, too bad, other than staying up too late. But really did suck ass kind of getting up out of bed, but I'm sure you peeps obviously don't want to miss anything, because you got to listen to this guy over here. But today's show, might be a little quicker than probably Monday through Thursday. We're gonna maybe try to keep Friday short and sweet, get you guys your fix, and then gotta get out of here, something like that, so you can enjoy the rest of your day. It's a beautiful day out, about 60, probably feels like about 80 degrees out there, but it says 63, something like that. But with that being said, are you ready to get your fix? Well, to get started today, we're going to talk and we're going to jump right into the Miami Dolphins, okay? What a year they had last year. We all seen their come up. Didn't think it was going to happen that fast. 2 years ago, they were the last in their division, even behind the Jets, which is kind of crazy to think about. But then last year, okay, they finished 10-6, 3-3 in the AFC East. They got second in the division, right behind the Bills, and they're slowly on that come up. They're a really well-coached team by Brian Flores. Okay, in 2019 the 2019-2020 season, it wasn't that great, like I said, 5-11. Excuse me, but they showed us that they can be the real deal in the NFL, and that's what they did last year. Okay, now before last year even started, they go out and they address their quarterback problem. So they go draft Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. Now, he didn't go too crazy, like I'm sure many people thought he was going to. Now, I didn't really think he was going to do crazy good, mainly because of his injuries that he suffered in college. And we talked about that last year a little bit, where I think it was a good amount of injuries, a couple of ankle, then he had that hip, or had a fractured hip last year, and they were kind of questioning how he's going to be in the NFL. Well, he did, all right. Not the greatest. I mean, you can't really expect it coming. I mean, you kind of have to a little bit expect him to do something good. But when you already have Ryan Fitzpatrick there, who's been in the league and knows what he's doing, you're going to give Tua that time to rest and make sure that hip is completely healed, which they said it was healed before the draft or going into the draft, but it probably wasn't. I'm not a doctor, don't really know, but he did all right. Okay, he got 186 for 290, so it was about 64%. 1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. Okay, but he was also sacked 20 times. So I mean, that offensive line didn't really do him any good. So that was a big factor of why he wasn't able to perform the way he did. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, probably similar stats. I didn't go look at that because he's not on that team no more. But with that offensive line being not as good as they'd hoped, that was a big reason why Tua wasn't able to perform to the best of his ability. But that could all change this year, as we've seen a massive step up from 2 years ago during last year. So now, going into this year, I'd expect about the same type of Dolphins team that we saw last year. Okay, they're not going to be any more better than what they were previously, because that division's pretty stacked. Okay, the Buffalo Bills, they're going to be the leader in that division for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully, anyways, that they hope, anyways. And then New England, last year, end of the dynasty, and you guys go 7-9, and then have a really good offseason. Okay, so the Patriots are going to be making some moves, and then you got the Jets. As bad as they are, and they're really bad, I think those young players are going to cause some fits for a lot of teams in the NFL. Now, they're not, like I said, they're not going to get a lot of wins. Okay, they're probably only going to get probably less than 5 if I had to guess. It's just the Jets. They're never that good. Now, with the new head coach, Robert Saleh, things could change, but don't expect them to change right away. So I'd expect the same type of Dolphins team. They're probably going to get second or third in the division, depending on how the Patriots perform, because we know at least I think and know that the Bills are first and the Jets are already last. So it's just those two who's going to be where kind of situation. Now, for this year, Tua should make that second year jump where we see guys starting to they've been in the NFL, they know the playbook, and they know what to do and what not to do. And I think this is a really crucial year for Tua because we seen him play last year and he wasn't that good. He looked a little nervous. He did, start becoming less nervous as the season went on and as he was getting more reps and stuff like that, which is good. That's a very good sign. But now going into year 2, he can't have that same, he can't be as nervous as when he started last year, which I don't think he will because he's already been there. But he should be pretty good this season. I'd expect, any close to about 3,000 yards passing, maybe 20 plus touchdowns, probably 10 plus picks. I don't think he's going to go over 20 picks by any means. We could see a high number, but I don't think it's going to be too drastic where you're like, oh God, this ain't our guy. But I'd expect Tua to be really good. Okay, not really good, but decent. Okay, and to add to the quarterback position, they didn't have much depth. So they go out and they sign Jacoby Brissett this offseason to a 1-year deal. Obviously, just adds that depth, adds that, okay, we need that Ryan Fitzpatrick back again. Like, if Tua's not doing it, not doing his job, we're going to have to bring this guy in so that Tua can take a break, show him what he's doing, teach him up, and put him back in, hopefully. Now, with Jacoby Brissett coming in, he's also proven that he could be a starter in this league. He played with the Patriots for, I can't remember how many games. He did all right. He had a rocky season being, I'm pretty sure T.Y. Hilton was hurt all that year that he was starting, which sucks, okay? You can't do anything about it. It's like, it's not as bad as a Tyrod Taylor situation where the dude's just getting screwed over left and right in his NFL career. Not really screwed over, but it's just how the cookie crumbled, and you can't do nothing about it. So I think, this is a really good signing for the Dolphins. I mean, like I said, proven he can start in this league, adds depth to their roster in that quarterback position, and gives them another chance to, or gives them an opportunity to put him in if, like I said, Tua's not doing anything. And I also think this signing with Jacoby Brissett, he reminds me he's similar to Tua in the fact that you're really uncertain of what he's going to bring to the table. You really don't know because he can be good, but he can also be bad and make a lot of dumb choices out there. So I think it helps him, but at the same time I think it's just kind of that's like we've been saying this whole week, that security blanket. Adds that depth. Just a guy that is a filler, really, just in case. And who knows if one of them's going to go off, because they both could be garbage and they both could be stellar. But other than that, okay, they go sign Jacoby Brissett and they have Tua in that draft last year. But then this offseason, they had probably one of the top offseasons combined throughout without the whole NFL teams, like all the NFL teams combined. They were probably top 5 in doing so and having a really, really good offseason like the New England Patriots. Okay, so to kind of go over their offseason, first they trade away their linebacker Shaq Lawson to the Texans for all-pro linebacker Bernardrick McKinney. Now, this is very interesting, okay? As, both players are really, they're really decent at what they do, okay? And really what this trade is, it's nothing, okay? Honestly, I think both these guys are about the same, performance level. Bernardrick McKinney is a little bit better, but Shaq Lawson has that ability to play at that level or better. So I think this is just kind of a flip-flop of guys like, hey, wow, you can take him, and I'll take this guy, and helps the Dolphins maybe out just a little bit better, but you never know. Okay, the Texans organization's kind of in shambles right now, but, like I said, this is a very interesting trade, because they really didn't need to make it, and it could have been due to money issues or whatever and whatnot, and chemistry fits and stuff like that. But then after they do that, okay, they land former Patriots D tackle Adam Butler. Okay, after they lost their D tackle in free agency, Davon Godchaux. Don't really know how to say his last name, but I'm pretty sure I said it somewhat decent there. And then they added some much-needed depth for their offensive line. They signed former Ravens center Matt Skura. Probably won't start. If he does, he's probably going to have to move to the tackle or the guard position. When I looked, I'm pretty sure he was about like 3 or 4th on the depth chart for the center position for the Dolphins. So, not really sure what they're going to do with that whole thing and whole ordeal, but still a good signing. Okay, like I said, adds depth, security blanket. That's what this whole week's been about, being a security blanket kind of show this week, I guess, if you will. But the biggest move by far that they made was going out and signing Will Fuller. If you don't know who Will Fuller is, he's a wide receiver. He played for the Texans last year. He's starting to, solidify his status as one of the better receivers in the league. Now, this is going to help out Tua tremendously. Okay, Will Fuller probably will be the number 2 receiver right behind Devontae Parker, at least when I looked at the depth chart, that's what they had right now. Obviously, it's way too early to figure that out because you don't really know how these guys are going to perform in practice, mini camps and the season and stuff like that. But this is a very, very good signing. Okay, they have like 2-3 decent receivers with Devontae Parker. I think they let one of them go. Well, last year they also drafted one, I believe. He was drafted or undrafted, one of the two. But he came out and was doing pretty good. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. It's kind of bugging me. But just know that Devontae Parker and Will Fuller are going to be very, very solid weapons. They're very similar in play style. I do think Devontae Parker is a little more shifty, where Will Fuller's that like DeAndre Hopkins. Because, he did learn from DeAndre a little bit when he was at the Texans. So he kind of brings that go-get-it kind of attitude. He's going to go up there and get the ball. He's going to get you some, for sure, yardage. He does have some things to clean up, like trying to get open more times than not. And that just comes with continuing to play his game, and eventually, hopefully, he'll get rewarded for that. But then after this biggest move that they made the offseason with Will Fuller, yesterday, while we were live, I'm pretty sure, and I forgot to say it, but that's mainly because I didn't want to say it because I knew we could talk about this today. They go out and they sign former Patriots defensive back Jason McCourty. I think we all kind of know his resume. Pretty decent, not the greatest by any means, but he's a really, really good, cover corner. Guy's going to go out there and get the job done. He's not going to have too many picks, but he's going to be a threat to offenses. The people are not going to want to throw to his way a lot. So that's going to help him out because he went to a cornerback factory with Bill Belichick there in New England. And now he's coming to Brian Flores, who's also very defensive-minded. And that's going to help out the Dolphins tremendously because I think what we seen last year was they have the ability to play really good football, 10-6, obviously, right? But that defense was a big reason they lost those 6 games. They weren't able to hold teams from scoring enough, or least, or however you want to word it. But this adds a lot of help. I think with this addition of Jason McCourty, their secondary is going to be a little better, not like tremendously better, but they will have, it'll be definitely improved from last year because these guys are dogs. They're going to go out there, especially when they bring in these Texans guys that want to get out of an atmosphere that's garbage. You're going to think that, hey, they're going to want to put on a show. Screw losing. We're going to start winning. And they come to a winning team. At least last year they were a winning team. 2 years ago they weren't. But very, very good offseason. Okay, and then they go to the draft. I'd probably give them somewhere around the A or B plus range for the draft because they did really good. Other than, they signed Will Fuller, they got Devontae Parker. They go draft Jalen Waddell, by the way. If you don't know, earlier this year, before the draft was even, it was months away or whatever, they go out and they ask Jalen Waddell, and I think it was Devonta Smith, but they asked him, who would you rather have a quarterback or as your quarterback, Tua or Mac Jones? Well, they both said Mac Jones. So he reunites with Tua as they were both playing in Alabama together, and now Tua's in Miami. And now they draft Jalen Waddell, who's going to Miami. So I'm sure there's going to be a couple conversations there about who's the better quarterback. and who they would rather have. But I don't think they really care, because I really do think that these college kids were tricked into kind of answering these questions, and shame on the social media people and all those fuckers for doing that, because that's just rude. Who cares who they have as their quarterback? Because it's the NFL. You never know who's going to be your quarterback. I mean, you would love to have it be Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady and stuff, but who gives a damn? I mean, yeah, if it's going to help you win games, sure, but you've seen what Tua can do in the NFL, and I think we've seen him start maturing towards the end of the season, where Mac Jones is just entering the league. So I understand that he might be a better leader in their eyes and stuff and whatnot, but this is going to be awesome for Tua, because Tua's going to have that little fire under his butt where he's going to be like, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm better than Mac Jones. I'm going to get that ball to you, and then I'm going to make you change your mind. So they go get Jalen Waddell, add that wide receiver to that wide receiver depth. Now they got Devonta Parker, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddell. That's a good crew. At least I hope it's a good crew. They should do just fine. Okay, then they'll go add help with Benardrick McKinney, getting linebacker Jalen Phillips, who's all right, and then they go get another safety and then an offensive lineman. So really, what they were doing is they were starting to rebuild 2 years ago. Okay, obviously we've seen that. Last year, I think they're still in that rebuilding process. Obviously, they still have some holes they have to fill in, but I think last year was kind of that year that you're like, okay, wow. I mean, granted, the New England Patriots didn't have much, and Jets don't have shit, but they're starting to make moves. They're starting to make sure that this rebuilding process goes smoothly and it doesn't just hit a brick wall, and that 10-6 season was the last one, because that's not obviously what they want, and that's not what Brian Flores wants. But I mean, we all got to realize, okay, they're still in the AFC East. This is still the Bills' division for at least the next 5 years, unless Bill Belichick pulls something out of his ass and wins a lot of games. But it's going to be a tougher year, okay? Being that the Patriots loaded up, like I noted earlier, and the Jets got some really good, young, hungry prospects to come out there. Now, like I said, not going to get too many wins for the Jets, but they're going to be able to fight with just how young they are and how athletic they can be, which will be a good sign, I hope, especially for Robert Saleh, who hopefully will get to keep his job. I'd let him keep his job, especially after 1 year. I don't understand why you'd fire him after 1 year. And but this Dolphins team is for sure only going to continue to get better, at least hopefully, because we've seen teams, try to do that, try to get better, and all of a sudden they hit that brick wall. And I think that's what the Texans kind of did, and that's what I kind of think Carolina did, especially after Cam Newton left, or Cam Newton was starting to, get injured a lot and just wasn't playing to the best of his ability. So we've seen that, and I don't think the Dolphins want to be in that category. I think the Dolphins want to hit it head on and win a lot of games, go to a playoff berth. So I'll kind of see how this transpires. We could probably talk about it a little bit more, but like I said, today's gonna be a shorter show, so not too much information to really worry about, because it's Friday, it's a beautiful day. You guys got to get out there, enjoy it, whether it's an hour, 5 hours. Go have a fire tonight, whatever you guys want to do. Just go do it, have fun, live your life. So enough on the Dolphins. If you guys remember yesterday, I believe it was, one of my friends, Joe Jensen, asked who I thought the MVP would be this upcoming season. Got me thinking. I was like, okay, maybe I can do that for a segment. So right now, what we're going to do, because of Mr. Joe Jensen, courtesy of Mr. Joe Jensen, that is, we're going to do the way too early award predictions for this upcoming season. So now there's a lot of awards to give out. There's even more awards that they give out that I'm actually going to go through. There's kind of it's weird. There's an assistant coach of the year. There's what was the other one? It was different. It was really, really different. But I'm going to hit the main ones. Okay, we did this last year a couple times, I'm pretty sure. So to get started, we're going to go head on. We're going to hit it right on the nose with the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, which is all the rookies, who's the best rookie, that's what they vote on, and the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So for both of those awards, I got Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Okay. Now these awards usually always, sadly goes to a quarterback. Justin Herbert, earned it last year. I did think Justin Jefferson also earned it and earned his right to have that as well. Maybe they could have. I don't see Zach Wilson really taking control of this. I think with what Jackson, or not 100%, 90% sure. But crazy. He played in a good division. It's a very good guy. Very good player. So for the honorable mentions for this, I got the Washington's linebacker, Jamin Davis, who we talked about the other day, and then the Dolphins edge rusher, Jalen Phillips. Hey, look at that. Dolphins. We're talking about Dolphins just a little bit ago, huh? So they got some good picks up there in Miami, or down there in Miami, excuse me, because we're up here in Minnesota. So, but after that, let's go talk about the offensive player of the year. So for my way too early offensive player of the year, I think this is a given. Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry, right off the bat. Again, this dude's awesome, incredible, okay, beast, and he's only really continued to get better. He's very it's crazy. 1,500 yards 2 years ago, and then he comes back 2,027 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns last year. Dude was what? Not really gonna do the math, but almost close, about 90, about 80 yards. Yeah, 80 yards or 79 yards away from breaking the record. That's crazy. That's nuts. This dude's gonna be a force of nature for the next 5-10 years. Obviously, he's huge. Dude just continues to go in the weight room, get bigger and get stronger, and there's really no stopping this guy. I mean, if you take that guy off the Titans team, they're probably, a 500 team, a little bit over 500. Obviously, they will be this year, but I think, obviously, this is going to be a really good choice unless for some reason he gets hurt. Hopefully, that does not happen. I do not want that because we got to continue to see him ball out. But for honorable mentions for that, Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and then Vikings running back, Dalvin Cook, because Dalvin Cook was also in that talk last year, and I think he's going to continue to be in that talk if he stays healthy. So moving over to Defensive Player of the Year, I got the Cleveland Browns defensive end, Myles Garrett. Okay. 2 Pro Bowls in his 4 years. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was in his 2nd year and in his 4th year. Now, he has 42.5 total sacks in those 4 years, which is about 10.6 a season. So you're going to get at least 10 sacks a year from him. And he's a devastating force for that Cleveland Browns. And I did forget to mention this yesterday, and I apologize to Logan Baumgart out there that I did not mention this. We were talking about defensive lines and how, what team was it? That they have a really, Washington. They have a top 3, defensive line. I forgot to put the Browns in that conversation. I mentioned another team, the Niners and stuff like that. But the Browns are definitely in that category, especially with signing Davion Clowney. But Myles Garrett, okay, devastating force regardless of the amount of games he plays. I mean, dude's ridiculous. Okay, I think it was 7 sacks his first year, and then I want to say it was 10 sacks, and then it was 11.5, and then it was 13 last year, or no, 10 last year. 13 was I think his 2nd year, something like that, or his 3rd year. But I mean, the dude only played 14 games last year, and he still racked up, 10 sacks? It's pretty decent in my eyes. That's really, really good, and he's only going to continue to do that. We've seen all these, at least I've seen all of his workout videos this offseason where he's damn near jumping buildings, it seems like, and doing this, holding himself on these, the gymnastic bars and, doing something crazy. I can't remember. I don't even know what it's called.